here is stinging nettles. They're highly nutritious, they're delicious to eat. The only drawback is of course that they will sting you. And they do sting. I mean, if you just hold them like this, your fingers will get stung. Since I've been playing with nettles for so many years now, they just don't bother me anymore. But just be cautious. As you can see with Lisa, she's making sure that she doesn't actually touch the nettles, and she's still able to cut all the leaves off quite successfully by laying them across the bowl there. I'm idiot enough to pick the things up.
We are going to make a filling to go into tomatoes. These tomatoes are gorgeous. They're homegrown tomatoes, ripe right now. Right now is the time where all the fruit on the tomato is starting to ripen. So we're going to make this into stuffed tomatoes. And we're using our stinging nettles to stuff them with. Now, if you don't have stinging nettles, of course you can use spinach because they're interchangeable really. But we're a wild food cooking show, so we're going to use the wild stuff.
Yeah. Good.
What we are going to start with is butter. That's my fat of choice. I'm going to get the pan going. We put our butter in and let that melt. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do...
Just wipe a bit of dirt off that.
Thank you. We're going to cut our tomatoes horizontally in half, evenly. So, our butter sounds like it's sizzling. I'm going to turn the heat all the way down to low. And I'm going to take a little bit of the insides out with a spoon so that we have something to stuff it with.
Oh,
I'm not going to go deep. I'm just going to go quite shallow, actually. Just like that. Something so that the stuffing can sit in there. We put them on the prepared baking sheet. Ours is prepared with a bit of parchment. And the bits that were taken out are going to get chopped. Our butter's melted. First thing we're going to add is onion. This is half an onion chopped. Going to add some celery. We're going to add stinging nettles, which have been chopped with a scissor, because you don't really want to touch them. They haven't been parboiled, so they're still stingy. And there's also some lamb quarters in here, which we had, so we threw them in too. Add them to the pan. We also need to preheat our oven to 400. Our nettles have cooked down beautifully. Now, all of that big bowl of nettles cooked down to next to nothing, as does spinach. You know, it's the volume that really reduces when you cook them. The other beautiful thing about stinging nettles is as soon as they hit something hot, like a hot water bath or hot oil, they lose their sting. So, adding the tomatoes now. This is the insides of the tomatoes that we chopped up. I haven't seasoned this at all, and that's because I'm going to use some Worcestershire sauce to really give this stuffing interesting flavor. So I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons. Because our batter is now a little bit liquidy, I'm going to add some breadcrumbs. This is a panko breadcrumbs that has some herbs and blending in it already, like an Italian herbs and blending, parsley, basil, oregano. Don't add a lot. Probably that was less than a quarter cup, and it's only to absorb the liquid. So that's it. That's the stuffing. Put it off to cool a little bit. You really don't have to let it cool, actually. And now you just stuff it into the tomatoes that have been prepared. What's great about this recipe is that you can feed 6 people with 3 tomatoes. they're all stuffed. We're going to put them in the oven and bake them for about 40 minutes at 400 degrees. And I think that will give that enough time for the tomato to break down where it becomes soft, but they won't get so soft that they're mushy, because you don't want that. Let's check them. Ooh. Looky, looky, looky. Now those look yummy. But they're not done yet. Because, now you could, of course, serve them like this, but we're going to add, this is nothing more than a little Romano cheese mixed again with a little breadcrumb and olive oil. We're going to put this on the top of each one. Put it back in the oven until it gets nice and toasty brown. So these were in for 40 minutes. I'd say another 10 minutes after you put the topping on, and they're done. Now, two things help them brown up real nice. Number one, the really hot oven of 400 degrees, but also adding the oil to the breadcrumb and to the cheese really helps it brown up, and that's what we wanted. So the tomatoes are soft, but they're not falling apart. The stuffing is, it was cooked to begin with, but now it's cooked through and really infused with the tomato flavor. And the breadcrumbs, of course, cheese makes anything great. Summer at its best. Yeah,
I mean, I love fresh tomatoes to begin with. But I mean, I love nettles, I love tomatoes, and I've never done this before, so I'm looking forward to it.
And this time of year is real unusual for the nettles because it's August, and usually by this time they're a little leggy, right?
Well, you know, what I've been doing is I've been cutting my nettles back a lot, and then I get lots of fresh green growth on it, and I've been eating off nettles all summer long.
Yeah. Good. So let's have one and see if you like.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. Yeah.
I mean, the tomato, it just melts in your mouth. Nothing like a homegrown tomato. You definitely taste the difference.
Oh, no question about it.
All right.
Okay.
Being clumsy.